I'm Jadi and welcome back to LPIC series. We are speaking about the security on your host. We talked about users, we talked about user limits, and now let's have a quick review on the open ports and checking them. You've already seen this in the previous section, 109, but we will do a review, a couple of new commands, and also a very interesting command, nmap. Netstat you know about. If you want to check the open ports on your computer, netstat used to be your friend. You are not friend that much anymore. Ports. Your computer has an IP address. Others can reach your computer using your IP address. If you have a server here, for example, a web server, it's running on your computer and it will tell your OS that I'm listening to port 80. If anyone comes to your computer on port 80, your operating system will inform this program that someone is talking with you. You will check, says, okay, you are a web browser, you want some answers, this is your answer. This is how ports work. There are like holes in your operating system which someone is listening. But if you have a malware, for example, a botnet, your botnet might be, or a rat, remote access Trojan, your rat might be listening on some ports, so the cracker can connect to it and tell it what to do. This is one method. There are more fun and stealth methods too, but this might be a way. Always it's good to check for your listening ports. One friend used to be netstat. You have seen the netstat-na. It shows me all the connections here. I'm looking for the listening ones. So I can say netstat-na grep on listen. It says, okay, I still have lots of listening, but these are more fun. I have a TCP on this port, listening on this IP. This is the IP address on your computer. You might have a computer with 3 different network cards. One is 192, one is 10 blah blah, and one is your local host. So if this was listening on 192 blah blah, only would see the request on this port if it, this is good example. This is listening on this IP address. So if someone reaches your computer on 192, it can't be able to speak with this because this is listening only on this IP address. Only programs from your own computer can connect. But this is listening on the 0000. So whoever reaches your computer with whatever IP of your computer can access this port. This is how it works. Netstat is older one and used very seldom nowadays. SS is more dominant. You've seen this again in the previous section. But one very good switch is tuna for this. You can remember tuna from tuna sandwich or from Office if you are a fan. Tuna shows you, okay, I'm listening on this on my network. Same thing with SS. SS tuna will show you the ports which are active, are listening, and these kind of stuff. Very useful here. Let me scroll. So you saw the netstat and SS, which you should know about. There is lsof, ls of open files. Remember, in Linux, everything is a file or is a process. So lsof will show you all the open files on your system, and there are lots of open files on any system. So we do, if you have an open file and you want to see who is using that, who opened it, you can use lsof and it will show you the PID, the ID which is using this process ID. This is so cool. You can go with lsof-i for internet connections only, sudo. These are the internet connections, which are files in the view of the Linux kernel. So there is, for example, one here from my computer on SSH port, connected and established. And these are the listening ports. Very nice. And there is F user, file user. Let me scroll to it. So we saw 3 commands. This is netstat and its friend SS with tuna switch, lsof, ls on open files with -i. This is very useful. Sometimes we feel that we have an attacker or something. We see what connections our computer has. Is there any suspicious connections or not? And we have F user, which is file user, which show you who is using this file. You can do an F user with the, for example, port 22 on TCP. Who is using this? Permission denied. Acceptable. Okay, this is it. You cannot understand much. -v is better. It says port 22 and TCP. User root has it. This is the PID. F is the access method and the command is SSH. You can go with man F user for that F. Capital F is open file for writing. So there is a connection. Open file. C in the current directory. Executable being run. Different information you can get on the F user, and it's about the files. So I say F users 22 TCP with more information with sudo. Okay. These are the information whoever is using 22 TCP. These are the information I have. 2 with root, 1 with JADI. Nice. You can check this files too. We're using this one. But here we are speaking about the networking. And this is the command which is using this. So you know 3 different commands to check the ports. Next, it's good to know about nmap. Nmap is super cool. If you know a map, you have something fun to do your whole life, maybe. At least in the next 5 years. Network exploration tool and security report scanner. In the simplest way, nmap localhost, please note, things like netstat, SS, lsof are running on my machine and talking with my operating system and asking questions and showing you answers. Nmap can be run anywhere and can scan any network. It's scanning networks. So I ran it and says check localhost. It says okay, by default I will check all ports from 0 to 1000. I will check port 1. Is someone listening on this? No answer. So I will check port 2. I will check port 3. And it will tell you that after some time, I found out that on port 22 TCP SSH service, it is open on this host. Very cool. You can do the same thing with other hosts too. You can say, dear nmap, please check google.com. It says, okay, you didn't give me any specific command. So I will go and check port 1, port 2, port 3, port 5, up to port 1000 on google.com. Super cool. Taking long time. Should be, because it's checking one by one all the 1000 first ports. If you press enter, it will tell you that, okay, this much of the thing is done, this much is remaining time. And it says on the Google server, this was the IP address. This was the host name. I found HTTP and HTTPS open ports. Also, these services are running, I think so, but they are closed. Nmap is the first tool hackers use to find data about a network. You can even say, nmap, I want the operating system of yahoo.com. It says, okay, if you want such a thing, only root can do that. At least nmap will know that I have access on this server. It will try to talk on different ports, different things, see what is back, and do some fingerprinting and find out what operating system this server runs, if possible. There are lots and lots of one-liners for nmap. If you search on the Google for nmap one-liner or on DuckDuckGo or whatever, you will find a lot of things. The answer is here. It says, I found all these addresses for Yahoo, but I'm checking this one. I tried lots of things. These are the ports. OS scan doesn't show any matching operating systems, although it checks for thousands of operating systems. But because Yahoo is configured not to answer back correctly to such things, man nmap will show you all of this information. Oh, enable OS detection. Checks for lots and lots of things. Anyway, on the one-liners, you can find lots of things. For example, I will open this. There are lots of sites, and many of the good hackers know a lot about nmap. You can say, just check port 53 on this server. You can say, I want to do a ping scan. Only ping my network, can ping networks. So on my own network, I can say nmap IPADDR show. This is my IP address. I can say nmap 192.168.72. This is my computer. I can say /24. You have seen this. So it means change the last part to all the possible values. So check the network and see what computers do we have here. Remember, if you run this in a network in which you don't have permission to run this, you may encounter problems because a good system admin may see you doing this using a device in the network which sees this kind of suspicious activity and may block your port, may come to you and say why you ran nmap and all other questions. So it says, I've checked this network. You didn't give me any specific command, so I checked all the ports from the first 1,000 ports. I found one machine here. This is my own computer where you see here the whole thing, which I'm saving the reports on. It says SSH is open, domain, VNC is open. If you were a hacker, you would say, okay, I have a machine in which I can connect on this port to its remote desktop. In worst case, it may need a password, but at least you know that the remote desktop is working on this machine. And this was where we ran the nmap. These were running there. So you can map your network. You can ping for a network, just do a ping, so it would be very quick. Scan all ports on your own machine, ports from this to this, scan only for web servers on this server, or all other things you can say. If you do a search for nmap one-liners, you will see lots and lots of different commands. For example, save the results to text file. You can say output to this text file instead of only here. And nmap is super cool. If you go to the nmap website, there is a section about the nmap in the movies, because nmap is so cool. In Matrix Reloaded, you can see a screen where nmap was running because it shows some nice hackery things. Even there are photos when, if I remember correctly, the president or someone went to the NSA for official visit, and there are lots of screens on the walls, and they were running nmap because it's cool, and most probably someone said, okay, let's run nmap. Presidents will see us as real security researchers. Snowden and lots of other words, you can see that nmap is running. Learn about nmap, play with it, but play responsibly. It's like drink. Have fun. I was Jadi. Let's go to the next module later.